Here's something the motorcycle industry doesn't want you to figure out. Yamaha has quietly become the best value brand on the market. Not the cheapest, value. There's a difference. Cheap means you're compromising. Value means you're getting more than you paid for. And right now, in 2026, Yamaha is doing that across multiple segments in ways that should genuinely embarrass their competitors. 7 bikes, all Yamaha, all punching way above their price tags. Let's get into it. Yamaha MT-03. Start here because this is where the argument begins. $4,999. That's the number, and people see that price and assume they're getting a beginner's toy. They're not. What they're actually getting is a 321cc parallel twin that revs freely, a chassis borrowed from Yamaha's sport bike DNA, and ergonomics that make city riding feel genuinely exciting rather than just functional. The wet weight sits under 170 kilograms. That matters more than people admit. A lighter bike in urban traffic is a faster bike, a more confidence-inspiring bike, and for new riders, a significantly safer bike. But here's what makes the MT-03 over-deliver specifically on price. Yamaha didn't strip it down to hit that $4,999 number. The finish quality, the full LED lighting package, the inverted KYB front fork, the Y-Connect smartphone integration. These feel like decisions made by people who ride, not accountants. Competitors in this range tend to feel provisional, like a stepping stone. The MT-03 feels like a destination. And if you're someone who's been riding for years and you want a second bike for commuting, this thing makes an almost embarrassing amount of sense. Under $5,000 for a properly sorted motorcycle with big bike specification. You're not slumming it. You're being smart. Yamaha YZF-R1. Same 321cc engine as the MT-03, $500 more, and a completely different conversation. The R3 is the full-fairing sport bike version, and what it does is give you an entry point into proper sport riding without the entry-level feel. At $5,499, it competes against bikes that look sporty but don't behave that way. The R3 actually behaves that way. Track days on an R3 are a legitimate experience, not a compromise. The chassis is balanced, the braking is predictable, and the aerodynamics aren't cosmetic. They work at speed. What makes the value case so strong here is the resale market. R3s hold their value unusually well because the demand never really dips. Riders buy them as starters, love them more than expected, and keep them. That cycle keeps second-hand prices elevated, which means the depreciation hit on a new one is softer than average. When you're calculating actual cost of ownership across 2 or 3 years, the $5,499 starting point starts looking even more reasonable. Yamaha priced this bike to compete with basic entry-level machines, but built it to a standard well beyond that category. The suspension alone, an inverted front fork in a class where most bikes give you a conventional non-adjustable setup, tells you everything about where Yamaha put the engineering effort. Yamaha MT-07. If there's one Yamaha that's been criminally underrated for years, it's this one. And at $8,599, the value argument almost writes itself. The MT-07 sits in a market segment where everyone is chasing horsepower numbers. And Yamaha looked at that trend and basically said, wrong metric. Instead of chasing peak power, they built a 689 cubic centimeters CP2 crossplane engine optimized for the kind of torque delivery that makes real-world riding feel electric. The result is a bike that pulls hard from low revs, stays manageable in traffic, and transforms completely when the roads open up. It's a Jekyll and Hyde machine. But both personalities are good. At $8,599, you're sitting thousands below most 700cc class European alternatives. And when you put them side by side on paper, the quality gap simply doesn't exist. What you're actually paying for with some of those European names is heritage and badge value. With the MT-07, you're paying for the motorcycle itself. The frame is one of the best handling units in its class, lightweight, rigid where it needs to be, compliant where that matters. Tyre wear is reasonable, maintenance intervals are long, insurance sits lower than its performance would suggest. For someone stepping up from a smaller bike or a rider returning after years away, $8,599 for this machine is the answer that requires the least amount of justification. Yamaha Tracer 9. Adventure touring is expensive. That's just the reality. Fully equipped sport tourers from European manufacturers regularly start at $15,000, $16,000, sometimes $18,000. The Tracer 9 walks into that conversation at $12,599 and makes the established names look like they've been overcharging for years. The engine is an 890cc triple-cylinder unit, and it is genuinely brilliant. It has a character that inline fours lack. A purposeful growl, a mid-range surge, a feeling of mechanical engagement that doesn't dull on long motorway stretches. And Yamaha didn't just put a great engine in a bare chassis. The electronics package includes cornering ABS and traction control that actually works intelligently rather than just cutting in abruptly. The full TFT display, Y-Connect integration, and wind protection are all standard, not optional, included in that $12,599 price. What Yamaha figured out with the Tracer 9 is that touring riders are experienced, research everything, and cannot be fooled by marketing. So they stopped trying and just built an excellent machine at an honest price. For the distance rider who wants genuine capability without the brand tax, this is the bike that changes the calculation entirely. Compare it feature for feature against anything above $15,000, and the Tracer 9 doesn't just compete, it wins on value every single time. Yamaha X Max. Scooters get dismissed. That's a cultural bias more than a rational position. And the X Max at $6,399 is the clearest evidence of how wrong that bias is. This is a 292cc maxi scooter that cruises highways comfortably, has enough underseat storage for a full-face helmet, and costs significantly less than the premium European maxi scooters it actually competes with on quality. The riding experience is relaxed but not boring. There's enough power to make overtaking feel safe and decisive, and the suspension tuning handles real-world roads rather than smooth test tracks. What makes the X Max deliver value so specifically is the ownership cost over time. Fuel consumption is exceptional. Service intervals are manageable. Parts availability through the Yamaha network means you're not hunting down specialists or waiting weeks for components. $6,399 for a scooter that does everything the expensive ones do, maintains better than most, and carries a Yamaha badge that means something in terms of long-term reliability. For urban professionals who've done the math on parking, fuel, and commute time, the X Max makes a completely rational argument. It's not a compromise. It's a decision made by someone who's thought clearly about what riding is actually for. Yamaha Ténéré 700. The adventure bike segment has a problem. Most bikes in it are designed to look like they go off-road while being engineered primarily for highways. The Ténéré 700 at $10,999 is the reversal of that entire trend. It's built around actual off-road capability and happens to work brilliantly on tarmac as a consequence. The engine is a 689cc CP2 parallel twin that delivers torque in a way that specifically suits trail riding. Low and accessible, not peaky and demanding. The power is usable, predictable, and confidence-inspiring when traction is limited and the terrain is unpredictable. The suspension travel is genuine adventure spec. The ergonomics assume that you might actually be standing on the pegs for extended periods. This is not a styling exercise. It's a motorcycle designed with real off-road use as the priority. At under $11,000, there is no direct competitor that offers the same off-road capability with the same level of engineering integrity. Some brands charge 15 to 20% more for bikes that go off-road less confidently and feel more nervous on technical terrain. The Ténéré became a sales success, partly because the adventure community recognized that immediately. It became a bit of a cult machine, not because of marketing, but because people rode it and came back with stories. That's the real measure. At $10,999, you're also getting a bike that carries Dakar racing lineage, making it credible in ways that most adventure bikes simply aren't. It's not a fashion purchase, it's a tool purchase. And it happens to be one of the best-looking bikes in Yamaha's current lineup. Yamaha MT-09. Save the strongest for last. The MT-09 is the argument ender, and the number that closes the case is $10,899. That's the price. Now consider what you're getting: an 890cc 3-cylinder engine that is genuinely one of the most characterful motors in production today. It sounds right, it pulls hard across the entire rev range, and it rewards skilled riders while remaining manageable for those still developing. The electronics package includes a 6-axis IMU, 4-mode traction control, slide control, front lift control, cornering ABS, and a quick shifter. Not as optional extras, not on a higher trim. Included, standard, in the price. The chassis is light enough that the MT-09 changes direction with an immediacy that larger displacement bikes simply can't match. For that power output and electronic suite, $10,899 is not just competitive, it's almost provocative. European naked bikes with equivalent specifications routinely start around $13,000–14,000. The MT-09 at this price either means Yamaha is taking a hit on margin to own the segment, or they've engineered so efficiently that they can build it for less. Either way, you benefit. In 2026, the MT-09 remains one of the clearest value propositions in motorcycling at any price range, not just its own. 7 bikes, 1 brand, and the consistent thread across all of them is that Yamaha keeps making the same decision. Build it right, price it honestly, let the product speak. That's increasingly rare in an industry that's learned to sell aspiration over substance. These aren't budget alternatives to better bikes. In most cases, they are the better bikes. The price just makes it easier to miss that until you actually ride one.